Now, a couple of last comments. If you just follow the mouse along, I'll try to highlight a couple things. What you try to look for when a stock is declining is some kind of a pattern, because the investors are looking for the same pattern. They might be using trend channels, Fibonacci ratios, retracement levels, time element, which is again principle. The premise is when you look at all the lines on a chart, you really start to get some structure of what's happening. And you can see here, this here is, I don't know if that's, I guess it's like a long-term box, we'll just say that. This is kind of interesting, and I think this needs to be watched really carefully. You can see here, this was previously resistance. Here it became support, and the stock had a nice little run. Well, we've now dropped below it. I fully expect this to be resistance now. This is November, middle of November 2008. We are likely to have two options, and you can flip a coin, it's like 50-50, that we're going to get a rally into spring and then we're going to get another crash. Or we're going to get a crash now, we're going to rally into spring, and then we'll get another crash again after. Bottom line is these are not good times for world stock markets, and if you've been following, most people are well aware of that. So here's the thing on the chart when you look. This theoretically is a bullish declining wedge that if it breaks the upper channel, maybe it's going to rally back into this range, which might be in the $50 range. If it breaks below, I think it's quite likely Telus is going to go back down into this range here. Here's what I want you to look at. From there down to there, there's not a lot of support, very minor right there. On the way back up, when it broke out of this here channel it was in, it went up to this, maybe that gets around $48 to $50 pretty quickly. So I kind of suspect that if it breaks below here, you're going to find this somewhere in the maybe $23 to $28 range. That's sort of where this section is here. You can see here really clearly, here's the head on October 2002, shoulder, another one here, and then of course it broke out to the highs that it reached in 2007, and then of course the double top in 2006. So if it breaks above, I don't think it's got very far to go. Even if it rallies into spring, maybe it goes back to the $50 range, and I suspect you're going to come back into this channel, and we'll see what happens from there. Now, just the last item I want to highlight. You can see right here where the mouse is moving, this is the main channel that it traded in, and it stayed in that channel really from 2001 all the way till 2008, so that's a pretty serious channel. But then look at this line here. You can see this is where the channel gained a little bit of amplitude. That's 45, maybe that's around 60. Now if you look right here, you can see there's the rising wedge. Now if a stock chart forms a wedge pattern in an uptrend, it's bearish, and when it breaks, the volume tends to pick up and it'll crash down pretty quickly. This is why this here becomes very interesting, that if it breaks above, watch this line here. If that gives support on the way back down, maybe that's going to get another rally going. My guess is that it won't, because we're headed into a couple of pretty tumultuous years in the stock market. And so if that line doesn't hold on the way back down, then this becomes the critical line. If it drops below there, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Telus is going to go back into this level here. And of course, Telus has got things going pretty well now, so I would expect that that's going to hold. If it didn't, well, you know, then you're into more serious problems, but you don't worry about that until it happens. So it just gives you an idea by looking at the charts, kind of like a puzzle or a picture that can give you a really good indication of what's likely to happen. You want to see where the trend line support comes in, the support for the resistance on the upside, and of course the support on the downside. You can sort of pick out the channel where it's trading, and violations of that tend to have implications of their own.